The dawn breaks over Rome, not with the gentle promise of a new day, but with a quiet, unsettling weight. Across the horizon, dark clouds gather, their bruised purple bellies swelling above the magnificent marble city. The morning light, soft and pale, seems hesitant, as if it knows what this day holds. Cypress trees sway, their movements, not a dance, but a shiver in the rising wind. The air is thick with a strange tension, a kind of stillness that precedes a great storm. Even the birds seem to sense it, their usual cheerful songs replaced by nervous, scattered chirps. A low rumble of thunder echoes in the distance, a deep, guttural warning from the heavens. Inside a grand villa, the feeling of dread is even more palpable. Calpurnia sits bolt upright on the edge of her bed, clutching a linen sheet to her chest. Her eyes are wide with terror, fixed on something unseen. Dust motes dance in the weak beams of light filtering through the window, oblivious to the fear that chills the room. Her husband, Julius Caesar, stands with his back to her, a silhouette against the ominous morning. He gazes out at the city he rules, unaware of the nightmare that has just ripped her from sleep. The only sounds are her own ragged breaths, the rustle of fabric, and the faint, mournful sigh of a distant violin. A single, sustained note hangs in the air, a thread of pure anxiety. Then, a new sound begins, the soft, rhythmic tapping of rain on the roof, like the drumming of nervous fingers. Outside, in the tranquil garden, nature offers its own silent portent. In a stone fountain, the water ripples, disturbed not by the wind, but by an unseen force. A single black crow descends from the troubled sky. It lands heavily on the fountain's edge, its feathers the color of polished jet. For a moment, it is perfectly still, a dark omen against the lush, vibrant greens of the garden. Then it turns its head, its beady black eye looking directly forward, as if staring into the soul of anyone who watches. A harsh, grating caw shatters the morning's quiet, and the surrounding leaves rustle violently, as if recoiling from the sound. The message is clear, though unspoken. Something is terribly wrong. Despite the foreboding signs, the day in Rome must go on. Caesar, draped in a magnificent toga of purple and white, makes his way through the city. The streets are alive, a chaotic, joyful sea of people. They press in on all sides, their faces upturned in adoration. They cheer his name until the sound is a physical force, a roar that vibrates through the cobblestones. Flower petals rain down from the balconies above, a blizzard of color against the stone architecture and waving flags. The atmosphere is electric, a festival of devotion. Yet, beneath the celebratory orchestral music, a single, sorrowful melody weaves itself through the fanfare, a hint of the tragedy to come. Caesar walks through it all, a pillar of calm in the swirling storm of humanity, his expression resolute. Suddenly, the jubilant crowd falls back, parting like the Red Sea. In the space that opens, a figure stands alone. It is an old soothsayer, bent and cloaked in rags. His face is a roadmap of wrinkles, his eyes milky and blind, seeing not the world of men, but the threads of fate. He raises a trembling, bony finger, pointing directly at Caesar. Augusta Wien, as if on cue, whips his hood back, revealing his face fully to the sky. Caesar pauses his stoic mask, unwavering, but a flicker of something unreadable passes through his eyes. In that instant, the world seems to hold its breath. The roar of the crowd dulls to a muffled, distant hum. A high-pitched ringing fills the air, and a single, raspy voice cuts through it. A whisper that carries more weight than a shout. Beware. The sound hangs in the air, followed by the lonely pluck of a single harpstring, sharp and final. As if in response to the warning, the very sky shifts. Looking up, the sun, which had been struggling to break through the clouds, is now consumed entirely. A torrent of fast-moving gray clouds devours the light, plunging the street into a sudden, gloomy twilight. A flock of birds, startled and panicked, wheels in a frantic circle overhead. The world's color palette drains away, the bright celebration replaced by a dramatic, overcast gloom. A sudden, sharp crack of thunder splits the air, no longer distant but directly overhead. The wind begins to howl, tearing at banners and cloaks. The music changes, its sorrowful undercurrent, now a powerful, driving minor key, heavy with the beat of war drums. The procession continues, but the joy is gone, replaced by a sense of inexorable doom. The great, heavy doors of the Theater of Pompey groan open, revealing not a stage, but a hall of shadows. Caesar steps across the threshold, a lone figure entering an intimidating, cavernous space. Shafts of light pierce the darkness, illuminating rows of centipedes standing in absolute silence. They are statues of white and gray, their faces unreadable in the cool, dim light. The sheer scale of the hall is overwhelming, designed to make any man feel small. The only sounds are the creak of the doors swinging shut and the lonely echo of Caesar's footsteps on the marble floor. The silence from the crowd of powerful men is more deafening than any cheer. Then, a new sound emerges, low and steady, the rhythmic thump of a heartbeat growing louder and faster. Among the silent figures, one man's internal struggle is a storm. A close-up on the eyes of Brutus reveals a universe of conflict. Sweat beads on his brow, he looks stone, not Achi Caesar, but at his own hand, hidden within the folds of his toga. His knuckles are white, his hand trembling. He is a man at war with himself, his love for his friend battling his devotion to the Republic. The world around him blurs into a soft, indistinct background. All that exists is his turmoil. A tense string in the orchestra begins a slow, agonizing climb, a crescendo of unbearable tension. His breathing is shallow and quick. From within his toga comes a faint, sharp sound, the slick, metallic slide of a blade being drawn from its sheath. The act itself is not shown. There is no violence, no bloodlust. Instead, a series of symbolic, tragic images. A pristine white toga, the symbol of a Roman citizen, is suddenly stained. A splotch of deep crimson red appears and blossoms outwards, like a flower of ink blooming in slow motion on clean paper. A heavy goblet of dark red wine, forgotten on a ledge, is knocked over. It tumbles through the air, shattering on the polished marble floor, its contents spilling like a pool of blood. The terrible tense silence is broken by a sudden, chaotic explosion of shouting. And then, just as quickly, it all falls silent again. A single, mournful human voice, pure and filled with sorrow, rises from the silence, a lament for what has been done and what has been lost. The world spins. We are on the floor, looking up. The ornate ceiling of the Senate Hall turns slowly, our vision blurred and fading at the edges. Through this haze, a face appears, looking down. It is Brutus. Tears stream from his eyes, his expression one of profound, soul-crushing grief. He has done the unthinkable, and it has broken him. The voices of the other senators are muffled, distant echoes, are ringing in the ears that slowly fades into nothingness. A soft, sad piano melody begins to play, a gentle elegy for a fallen giant. This is not a moment of triumph, but of utter, devastating loss. Et tu, Brute? The question hangs in the air, unspoken but felt in every note of the music. Later, the great hall is empty. The assassins are gone. The body is gone. All that remains is a profound, echoing stillness. A single, static shot focuses on Caesar's ornate golden chair, now empty. On the floor before it lies a single strip of red cloth, a sash from his toga, the only evidence of the day's horror. The light in the hall is fading as the sun finally sets, the long shadows stretching like grasping fingers. The details of the room are sharp and clear, every carving and piece of marble rendered in melancholic beauty. The only sound is the wind, now a lonesome whistle blowing through the empty chamber. From somewhere far away, the sound of distant crying can be heard. The piano melody swells, an emotional crescendo that fills the vast, empty space with a sense of finality and immense sorrow. The rain that began as a soft tapping this morning now falls in earnest. It streams down the stone face of the great statue of Pompey, which stands watch outside the theater. The water washes over the steps at its base, cleansing a dark red stain, rinsing it away until the marble is clean once more. Nature is reclaiming the scene, washing away the sins of men. The camera slowly pans upward, away from the statue, away from the site of the tragedy, until it rests on the gray, weeping sky. The rain falls gently, peacefully. Thunder rumbles softly, no longer a threat, but a sigh. The mournful music fades away, leaving only the sound of the rain, until that too fades into a final, quiet peace. The end.